I'm Christine. Welcome to Book Talk. Today we are discussing the April book of the month, The Queen of The Tearling by Miss Erika Johansen. If you're not familiar with the Booksplosion Book of the Month system, because it's the book of the month, that means there's going to be a live show where I discuss it with my fellow Booksplosion members, Catty-tastic and Jessie the Reader, and you can join us and ask questions live, and that live show will be May 2nd at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my channel, 2015, if you want to join. The Queen of the Tearling is actually a super interesting concept. It's fantasy, but it's fantasy slash dystopian because it's all about the corrupted government and it takes place like in the future. Civilization has kind of collapsed and reset itself. America and Europe all sailed over some ocean that we hadn't discovered yet, and this was called the crossing, and on the other side of the ocean we discovered this new continent. But during the crossing, America lost a lot of its ships and it lost so much of its technology that it set us really far back technologically. So the civilization that we see now is kind of medievally. It's got king and queen and all that jazz. And our main character's name is Kelsey. I keep calling her Kelsey because it looks like that, but it's Kelsey, like Chelsea, except with a K. Have you ever noticed how many female protagonist names start with a K? Have ya? Think about it. Graceland, The Hunger Games, Queen of Tearling, lots of other ones. I just can't think of them right now because you put me on the spot. Authors just like their protagonists to start with the letter K, and I don't know why C is just as cool as K. Why are you neglecting the letter C? Why couldn't you spell it Chelsea instead of Kelsey? I don't know how this spiraled into my personal grudge against the letter K, so let's stop. Kelsey. So Kelsey is the queen's daughter, but you can't come into queendom until you're 19. And her mom died when she was like 29, and her mom had enemies, and so she sent her daughter away to a cottage in the woods far away so she wouldn't be killed. Kelsey is now 19. It's time for her to be queen. Because there have been so many years between Kelsey becoming queen and her mother dying, the Tearling, which is the country that America and Britain became in this new continent, the Tearling has been on really hard times. The government's super corrupt. So the book is her journey from the cottage to the keep, which is like the kingdom. She has to get there without dying, without being killed by any of the enemies of their state, and then she has to fix the government, which is so effed up. There's a ton of world building, and it was all really interesting, but it made the book go really slow. You definitely have to be a patient reader to really enjoy The Queen of the Tearling. The Queen of the Tearling is going to be turned into a film, and Emma Watson is attached to play the lead girl. So weird now that I've read it. But since the story is so strong and it is so interesting, it's gonna be really cool to see it translated into film. All the main characters are very well written. You can picture them, you can see them, you know their personalities. The lead doesn't look much like Emma Watson because she's supposed to be pretty plain looking, and I know you can dress Emma down and make her plain looking, she's still beautiful, but she's also kind of heavy set. Kelsey always wears this sapphire necklace, and the sapphire necklace has some sort of powers to it. It's magical in some way. And there's a twin necklace. Somehow these two necklaces play into the story. I believe this is like cut out to look like the jewel that is in the necklace. That's all I can really tell you in this non-spoilery section. I myself would give Queen of the Tearling like an 83% or 3.3 stars on Goodreads. Like I said, what I did like about the book were the characters. I think the plot was strong. I think the world building was great. But what I didn't like about it was how slow the plot actually unfolded within the book. Because there were so many details and so much world building that at times you got lost in it. And it was hard for me to concentrate. But at the same time, it's a story about this really strong female protagonist. And I love seeing her pick herself up. There really isn't any romance in this book. Not that I need romance to enjoy a book, but I love having a romantic line weaved throughout a story. Kelsey is just really this strong heroine coming to save her country, and she doesn't give a shit about the guys around her at all. It's all about her duty, and I respect that. But having a romance line in a book is always super fun. I was missing that fun. That is it for the non-spoilery section. If you haven't read it yet and this sounded interesting, it sounded like something that you would really enjoy, you should go read it and then come back and we can discuss it together. Okay? Bye, non-spoileries. Okay, there are so many characters in this book. It was hard to keep them all straight. I think I'd have to say my favorite is, of course, Kelsey. One of my favorite scenes in the book was Kelsey's coronation. And when she got stabbed in the back, but she kept going and she was like, keep the ceremony going. everything. I'm gonna be crowned today. Let's do this. And she's like, uncle, get the F out of my chair. And I was like, respect. And I love how we learn about Barty and Carlin, because in the beginning you don't necessarily have much respect for them because they weren't like normal parents. Barty kind of was, but Carlin had this really tough love. She never really acted like a mother, and we see that Kelsey always yearned for that typical family life. But as the book goes on, we learn more and more about Carlin and why she was the way she was, and I just gained so much respect for that woman. And I loved at the end when Kelsey was like, I'm changing my name. I'm no longer Kelsey Raleigh. I am Kelsey Raleigh Glynn, and I am Queen Glynn from now on. Touched me. It's the only point in the book where I welled up. I feel like there were a lot of great scenes, but in between these great scenes, there's just so much wordiness that bogged the story down. I was just expecting so much more to happen in this book, and I guess a lot of it was setting up for the next book, because it's a series. I'm not sure how long the series is, but I know the next one is coming out in June. So the big question right now, I mean, there's a few big questions, but one of the biggest: who the hell is Kelsey's dad? For a second, I thought that it was gonna be the Fetch, because he is some sort of sorcerer. That's why he looks young and everything. And there was this one line, like how he went to visit her mother, and then she was pregnant or something. But the mother, it seems like she was very promiscuous. She had a bunch of different abortions, and then she just didn't have an abortion when it came to Kelsey. And the uncle really didn't want her to have this one child that she didn't want to have the abortion for. So it's definitely someone significant, but I don't see any obvious candidates before us for that position, so that's kind of really up in the air. I'm interested in where magic comes from. Is magic taken from jewels or something? We don't know where the Red Queen came from. In the beginning, I had this whole theory that the Queen had 2 children and the other one was the Red Queen. Then we learned the Red Queen's like 1,000,000 years old, and she's like a vampire. Like, she's so old, she doesn't care about humanity. She just kills people all the time, and she's really cold. So no, I guess not. These necklaces are reminding me of like the Lord of the rings. I don't know much about the Lord of the Rings, so it might not be very similar from what I visualize the Lord of the Rings situation to be. This is very similar. And what the heck is that dark blob? That dark blob that the Red Queen has in her room? Like, is that a vampire that just like chills as a splatter of oil in the underworld and comes up for innocent blood to give her advice? Like, why is it kind of protecting Kelsey? Because it was like, you will not invade Queen of The Tearling's country. You will not. And she's like, okay, I won't. Like, what is he? What force is he? Where does the magic in this world come from? And what's up with the Fetch? He's our Johnny Depp character. He's our like Zorro or V for Vendetta, mysterious, handsome man. The only character that Kelsey really has a crush on. Like, I was just waiting for some sort of romantic thing to kind of be there in the background. But there really wasn't any at all. Like, there's the Fetch. We like him. I like his character a lot. But we don't really know him. Then there's Penn, and I thought maybe something would happen with them because they're really close in age. I really like that scene also when she got attacked in the bathtub. That was really exciting and nerve-wracking. Like, I was just flipping through the pages, and that was rare for me to be like, keep going. The main issue that Kelsey tackles in this book is the Mort Treaty, because the Mort Treaty grants Mortimer or Mortimer or whatever French words. I cannot pronounce French words. I just can't do it. I'm the worst. I'm the absolute worst. They pronounce letters so differently than us. It's so confusing. So Mortimer says that the Tearling will give Mortimer like 120,000 slaves per year or something. So every month there's a lottery and everyone's names go into it, and if they pull your name, you don't get to fight to the death. You just are sold to Mortimer as a slave. And that's it. That's the end for you. There's one thing that's having trouble believing or suspending my belief on or just getting through my brain. The idea that that there are like so few doctors in the Tearling because all the doctors came over on one ship and that ship sank on the voyage across to this new continent. I'm interested in what happened to our old continents that we all had to flee to this new one, and where the hell this new one's supposed to be on the world. Did they find a like new portal? Did they find a spot in the ocean that goes to the middle of the earth or something? Where is this continent? The Tearling continent. But whatever. So we found this new world. But why are we dumb enough to have all the doctors and all the equipment and all the medicine on one boat that sinks? It just sounds so stupid. It's like, why are you putting all your eggs in one basket? Why wouldn't there be doctors in all the boats? Because every boat should have a doctor on it. You know what character really stood out to me? Her new lady's maid, Adeline. She has the gift of the sight. She's part Mort. She has all these kids who who have been abused, and I just think she's a really interesting character. Now, another interesting one is the priest, Tyler, who's kind of not exactly attached to priesthood. He cares more about books and his collection and learning. I really like the relationship that's kind of forming between him and Calcia. They're bonded over their love of books and history. The church wanted Tyler to work for him, but it seems like he's gonna come over to Calcia's side and she's going to have his loyalty now. I really enjoyed Mace's character. He's like this dad who doesn't really want to claim dadship, you know? It's cute. I mean, I have no idea where the story is really going. I know Calcia is gonna prevail, but are they gonna invade Mortime? Are they gonna raise a rebellion in Mortime so that that country overthrows the Red Queen? Is the Tear gonna take over the entire continent? I don't know, but I'm definitely intrigued. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the book. Which characters really stood out to you? What you think is going on with the fetch? And if you think that's going to a romantic place, maybe it is. I don't know if Calcia's looks are gonna change, but I think that would go against everything she believes in. Like if she uses her magic to change her appearance, because the Red Queen alluded to the fact that she also used to be plain, but she changed her appearance and such. Where is the love line? I feel like every great story, every great epic has at least one love line going through it. It doesn't have to be the overlying story, but it has to be there because having it there makes it so much more relatable. It gives it a warmth that I think was missing in the Queen of the Tearling. It was all cold, hard business, intense politics. The fetch is so much older than her. So I don't know, it's weird. I don't know. Please share your thoughts. I'm Christine. Thanks for watching. Bye!